What's your take on Ron DeSantis as a presidential candidate? I think DeSantis is an example of the GOP trying to replicate the appeal of Trump without entirely understanding what that appeal was. Both GOP and Dem diehards seem to believe that Trump's appeal was in his right-wing trigger the libs rhetoric, which was of course his loudest trait when campaigning. But it overshadows why he was such a surprising success. He's not a politician and never will be. He's a crass and outspoken oaf with essentially no awareness of what is allowed in mainstream politics. And with an ever-increasingly alienated and materially precarious voter base, an outsider like that is the most appealing option. Donald Trump is a gift-wrapped box of dog hits sent to Washington to punish a political class that the average voter has lost all faith in. The idea that you could replicate that appeal with a career political hack is ludicrous. The overall tone of the average voter is alienated, angry, confused, and elderly. And so the winner of the next election is all but certain to be either Biden or Trump again, because only they embody that energy. Let me give you an answer with realistic examples of what we would be facing if Ron DeSantis was president. If you look him up right now, you will see some news articles where he is claiming that Florida government banning books in schools is a nasty hoax. But it's not. It's happening. I can for 100% certain that it's happening because it's happening at the school my daughter teaches at, but he knows that the majority of people who read his statement are just going to assume that it's a hoax and random teachers coming out calling him a liar are going to be disregarded. Right now DeSantis intentionally creating and pushing disinformation is happening at a state level in what those of us in the healthcare field were seeing, while DeSantis intentionally fudged COVID numbers, something that shouldn't be overlooked because one of the people involved had some issues. It is a known fact that DeSantis misrepresented COVID numbers. And he did storm her home and take all her evidence, so, you can believe that she was in the wrong all you want, but DeSantis is a nightmare even if the Rebecca Jones thing was taken out of my reasoning. But it seriously needs to be understood that her having her house stormed, being arrested, having her character assassinated and being forced to sign a plea deal sent a clear message to my fellow government workers of what might happen if we spoke up about the reality of COVID in Florida. It was a gift to DeSantis. She had so many issues he could Florida. Another example of this is when a data scientist during the pandemic decided to make her own COVID dashboard because she was asked to fudge the numbers on COVID to make the state look better and she refused to do so and was fired. After she made the alternate dashboard showing the real numbers, DeSantis had her home stormed, had her arrested and had her equipment seized. I work for a state program in Florida and I am scared to openly speak out against the governor in Florida. I have seen him unseat elected officials, not appointed officials like the state's attorney, people elected locally by the local populace. Andre placed those people with cronies that the people did not want. Come to your own conclusions, but everything that I have said here is 100% true. For those claiming that he's just banning ORN in school, stop listening to his propaganda. Greater than among these banned books is Roberto Clemente, Pride of the Pittsburgh Pirates, by Jonah Winter and Raul Colon. The book chronicles the life of the legendary baseball player and his experiences with racism and community activism. Another banned book about a baseball legend is Henry Aaron's Dream, a story on Hank Aaron written by Matt Tavares. Greater than also on the list is Naya's Long Walk, A Step at a Time, by Linda Sue Park and Brian Pinkney, a children's story about a Sudanese girl and her sister and their struggle to find water and bring it back to their family. Greater than Before She Was Harriet, by Lisa Klein Ransom and James E. Ransom, tells the story of Harriet Tubman and the many roles she played, including liberator, Union spy and activist. Greater than Sulwe, by Lupita Nyong'o and Vashti Harrison, a children's book about colorism and self-esteem. A dark-skinned Kenyan girl named Sulwe, which means star, wishes she has lighter skin like her sister, until a magical journey changes her life and helps her see her beauty. Greater than Fry Bread, a Native American family story, by Kevin Noble Mellard and Juana Martinez Neal, is a picture book about Native American identity, traditions, history and culture. Greater than other banned literature are Celia Cruz, Queen of Salsa, by Veronica Chambers and Julie Marin, and Black Frontiers, A History of African American Heroes in the Old West, by Lillian Schlissel. Greater than books about Muslims and Jews have been shelved as well. For example, The Gift of Ramadan, by Rabia York Lombard and Laura K. Horton, examines the different ways a family observes the Muslim holiday Ramadan. And Chik Chak Shabbat, Jewish Bedtime Stories and Songs, by Mara Rockcliffe and Kirsten Brooker, is a children's storybook about people of diverse backgrounds celebrating a Jewish holiday. Edit. Seriously, stop talking to me about Rebecca Jones. Yes, she had some things in her past. Yes, She did sign a plea deal to stay out of jail that included essentially recanting and not talking about it anymore, as would most people to stay out of jail. But her numbers on COVID aligned with. Does he have a single sound policy other than violating the Constitution to own the libs? Like, he made a huge deal out of being pro-gas stove, despite A, there being no reason to, and B, 94% of Floridians use electric stoves. How can someone wear a suit that is both too big and too small at the same time? Paraphrasing from The West Wing. Toby. I just figured out who you were. DeSantis. He's gonna say Satan. Toby. No, you're the guy that runs into the 7 to 11 to get Satan a pack of cigarettes. I don't think Trump is a fascist. I think he's a buffoon with no real ideology other than wanting adoration. Remember when he was basically a Democrat before trying to woo the Bible crowd? DeSantis is a genuine danger. The issue for him is he's got virtually no charisma. I've said it my whole life. Will tell my children. Vote for those that lead with ideas and solutions, not those that lead with fear and whataboutism. Goes for both parties.
What's something you're tired of hearing about? Elon Musk, Donald Trump, the Kardashians, Andrew Tate, TMZ, basically anything in the top 10 lists. Celebrity drama. No one cares. Sky News. How our menu options have recently changed. The Kardashians. It shouldn't be newsworthy every time one of them literally does anything. People writing your for your. Prince Harry and Meghan. Jake Paul's boxing. That AMN door in Titanic. Diversity from companies in their fake virtue signaling advertisements. These companies haven't cared about diversity and inclusion for decades, and they still don't. The IDEFI are going to preach at me about diversity with the primary goal of driving profits is both offensive and laughable. X on R, askreddit. 5G or the metaverse. They clearly haven't changed the world yet.
Redditors who don't drink alcohol, what are your reasons for not drinking? I'm a recovering alcoholic. So there's that. My dad is an alcoholic. I'm afraid to be on. Growing up, I was surrounded by alcohol-fueled violence. I decided at 11 I would never drink. Save for the odd sip of Southern Comfort as a teen, to this day I still don't drink. I'm 43 now. It tastes bad. I'm convinced everyone else is faking it. I prefer the feeling of staying sober. I was a social drinker. I no longer socialize. Sleep. If I have as little as 1 glass of wine, not sleep well, and I wake up early. When you have kids, you need all the sleep you can get. Every time I drink, my mood is screwy the next day. I'm guessing it interferes with my sleep or something, but the end result is that I drink very rarely. It tastes bad. It damages the body. I feel worse mentally even after a single drink. It's bad for your skin, accelerates aging, it's expensive. Not many reasons to drink for me, really. I see what it does to people. I already can't control myself sober. What was the most ucked up thing someone said to you? My life would have been so much better if you had just died too. My twin died at birth. It may be true, but no kid needs to hear that. My mom told me that if anyone got close enough to really know me, they'd find out what a itch I am and have nothing to do with me anymore. P.S. I have lifelong friends and a relationship with my siblings. She doesn't. I was basically bedridden after an accident left mine constant, debilitating pain. My ex screamed in my face to just die already, but apparently I'm remembering it wrong and it wasn't that big of a deal. You're a piece of hit just like your father. By my dear mother. My boss pointing at me said to my coworkers, he may be fat but he is the most hard-working person here. When I was maybe 12 or 13, I got an infection. My family was very cold towards me. They basically said that no man wants to UCK a sick woman. I still don't understand why they would say that to their little girl. See, not even dogs like you. Your own mother probably doesn't love you either. I didn't take it seriously and I know it to be false, but it's a messed up thing to say. I once said, you're a big girl, to an overweight girl, but it was in the context of you're a grown adult. When I realized how she took it and my poor choice of words, I was so unbelievably sorry. Sad face. Hope she believed me. Someone once told me I'd die alone. Feelings. Loot, by my father. I was 10 to 13 years old, didn't even do anything wrong at that time. I was just sitting and giggling watching the television. I was 11 and it was my first group sleepover. One of the girls told me she would shove a pair of high heels so far up my vagina that I'd never be able to hobby children. She also threw my teddy against the wall and its eye popped out.